Guys, welcome back to the New Elite podcast. Today we will be breaking down what creates the perfect aesthetic physique for a man, the type of physique that women desire and other men envy. We're going to be going through training, nutrition, diet, supplements, PEDs, peptides, absolutely everything you could imagine on how to get a perfectly aesthetic physique that is based off the golden ratio, which we'll come into soon. I'm joined with my good friend, videographer, and overall cool guy, Max, who I've known since I was pretty much about 5 years old.
Pretty much 5 years old.
Because
A very long time.
Because me and Max have exactly the same birthday, 57, 1998. That's what we tell women when we meet them. But aside from that, me and Max started training together. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
We started watching YouTube at school together at about 14, getting into all the fitness influencers, and we have trained together since we were 14 years old. So this is we're now 26. This is 12 years we've been into fitness, health, nutrition, and we've got a lot to say on the topics. Max is going to ask me questions, and we're just going to have a conversation about it. So without further ado, Max, let's begin.
Yeah, let's do it. Couple of questions. So I want to start off with the foundations of fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear, obviously we're talking about an aesthetic physique. What does that actually mean to you to have an aesthetic physique?
I think when we talk aesthetic physiques, we're talking about what is attractive to women.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what we care about as men. The aesthetic physique. What is the perfect physique for a woman when they look at you and they desire you? And I believe that comes down to something called the golden formula. So the golden formula is when you have the perfect V taper from broad shoulders down into a narrow waist, and you don't have too much muscle, because women, after a certain amount of muscle, they start to get put off. They start to get scared. They start to run away. They like an in-between of the very athletic physique and the athletic physique that holds a little bit more mass. The kind of physiques that me and you are rocking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like not massively muscular, certainly not steroid level, but still looking very good. You could probably improve on what we have got. There's a guy called Josh Mooney. He's probably got the perfect aesthetic physique, I would say.
Out of all the guys that we've trained with and met, he's got an incredible physique. He's a little bit taller than us. I believe he's around 6'1", maybe.
6'1", 6'2".
Completely lean.
Completely shredded, but also decent amount of size, about 92 kilos. Whereas I weigh in at about 81, 82. I'm currently boxing, so my physique is not perfectly aesthetic. But if you want to see a perfectly aesthetic physique that we're going to teach you how to get in this podcast, check out Josh Mooney. That's the kind of physique we want to be building. What was the next question on building this physique?
What's the difference between training for aesthetics versus training for strength or performance?
I think me and you have both done this through and through. You train for performance and you get aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
You don't train for aesthetics alone. As you get stronger, as you become more athletic, as you can run faster, jump higher, lift more weight on the compound movements, you build an aesthetic and you build a beautiful physique. Actually, if you train just for aesthetics, you can end up out of proportion. We see a lot of guys that we see them and they have a huge chest because they've trained for aesthetics. What most men do is they look in the mirror. What do they see in front of them? They see their chest. They see their quads. They see their shoulders and their arms. So that's all they train because that's all they ever see. And then you look behind them. I used to be one of these guys. You look behind me, my back's tiny like a little kid's. And then you go to the front, the chest's fucking massive.
Yeah.
And that's what training for performance is so important. And we'll go into that. It's like you should absolutely train to be as strong as possible, as fast as possible, as flexible as possible, have a physique that you can use. That's why boxing is very good as well. And that is actually what builds this capable physique that looks and women admire when they see you, the way you walk. As soon as you get too big, too bulky, you're not flexible. You don't move in the same way. You don't fit into a suit the same way. There's certainly a real nice range that you can get to, and anything over that is diminishing returns and anything under is diminishing returns. And it's finding how to get that perfect in the middle zone.
Absolutely. So I actually think that relates to legs as well. How would you balance legs with an aesthetic physique? Because when you say train for performance, I think that includes legs, and I think that's the mistake that a lot of guys make. They train for aesthetics and they kind of look waist upwards. They look at arm size, chest size, shoulder size.
Yeah.
And then that's where it becomes...
I've been guilty of that.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that, yeah.
I've been guilty of that, and you really have to undo it, because the way that a good set of legs makes you look physique-wise is game-changing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's actually the craziest thing in the world when you walk out to the pool and your top half looks great and your bottom half is like a little boy's legs, is probably the biggest turn off for women. Like, they really do not like to see that. Women especially, because women focus on what they think looks good on them as well. And they focus on arse, they focus on glutes, on quads, and the way their legs look a lot. That's what women focus on. So they look at that on a man. You don't want it massive. You don't want massive arse and glutes.
No.
But that doesn't normally happen with men. So for that kind of thing, you want to be training legs as regularly as you are training uppers. Mm-hmm. And that's also going to massively increase your testosterone as well and give you a better overall physique.
Yeah, so in terms of overall physique, just moving on to the type of training approach that you've been doing, what muscle group to you matters the most for creating that aesthetic look? Or would you just say it's a well-rounded balance of them all? No,
there definitely is some certain things that I've done in my training that have helped me build a more aesthetic physique. One of them being the side delts is an area that I have focused on a lot, way more than most people ever would. At the end of every training session, pretty much, I will do side lateral raises with dumbbells, and I'll do them to failure and work my way through the rack. And I'd just like to end my sessions this way. This is a very small muscle, the side delt. It is not using a lot of blood. It's not got a lot of stress involved with it. And you can train this to death. You can train this every single day and it will start to grow and grow and grow. And that's what gives us our aesthetics. You want the shoulders to taper into the waist. It's a lot easier, even if the waist is bigger, for that to look like a better golden triangle if you have these really nice capped side delts, which you get from training the delt on every single training session. Like 5 days a week, you can train side delts, which is an area that I really like to train. The next area you want to have is you want to have the chest that pops out. You want to have a nicely developed chest. The way that we have done this in our training is we consistently train incline chest press movements to build the top half of the chest. Because the more you train this bottom half, you get more of a titty. You get a titty there, like a woman. What you want is the top of the chest and the pec muscle to spread out, which is done by training incline movements very heavy, and also by doing a lot of incline flies, where you then begin to stretch the muscle all the way up the shoulder, and you get a fully developed pec from the inner part of the front of the delt all the way through to the center. And that's done by these very wide, slightly painful flies that we have developed. Next thing is chest, very important. And then obviously for your uppers, you want your back. So a lot of these are done purely with your compound movements. Uh-oh, the cat's on the table eating off bloody
He's not going to like that egg anyway.
No. Oh dear. What you want to do is your compounds for you've got your side delts, which you're taking care of. You've got your chest, which you're doing with your mostly incline dumbbell press I use. And you want your rows, your heavy rows to build that thick back. You want your deadlifts and your straight-legged Romanian deadlifts to build the back of your hamstrings and also to build your lower back. You've got your lat pulls to build these massive, big, strong lats. And then you've also got, obviously, your squats. Very, very important for building and developing the entire leg. And that's pretty much you taken care of, I would say, to build aesthetic physique. The big thing we focus on that you can train more often is obviously biceps and triceps and these side delts, which can be trained every day pretty much at the end of workouts.
Yeah, absolutely. That for me and you, that's something that I've always liked to keep in our workouts, those three compound movements.
Yeah.
Deadlift, squats, chest press. In my opinion, they're the three core exercises for a incredible physique. And that's what we've always built in. I don't think we've been to the gym in the last year and a half together where we haven't either done a squat, a deadlift, or a bench press. When we say bench press, that can be like an incline dumbbell bench press, or it can be a flat barbell bench press. The deadlifts can be a Romanian deadlift if we're training legs specifically that day, but we'll always include one of those compound movements in the workout.
And what would you say they are in terms of difficulty for the movements? They're like the hardest stuff in the gym, right? And they're the things most people skip.
Yeah. Well, look, what a compound movement necessarily means is it's using multiple muscle parts in one movement. So, for example, if you're standing in front of a mirror and you're just doing a bicep curl, you're only moving one muscle and training one muscle. Whereas a deadlift, for example, trains the whole posterior chain, I believe it's called, all down your back.
Posterior chain.
So you're training your calves, your hamstrings, your lower back, your upper back, your shoulders as you're bringing it back at the top. So it's a compound movement that trains multiple muscles within one lift. So I actually know guys that I wouldn't say this is the best way to train, but there's people that train for powerlifting that will go to the gym specifically for a deadlift session. I'm not saying that's the best way to train, but deadlifts incorporate so many muscle types that you can just have one session around these 3 compact lifts, similar to squats.
Yep.
Even though you feel like it's training your legs, you're training your shoulders and your arms when you're holding the bar. You're training your lower back. Exactly, your abs, your core as you're squatting down to stop you from, and balance as well, to stop you from falling backwards. Which is why I believe personally those 3 are the most important exercise in the gym, along with everything else you just said.
Absolutely. And the way me and Max train is always pushing to failure, but safely, right? Because you never want to be getting badly injured because of how much it holds you back in your physique. Touch wood, we have been to the gym together going on many, many years now, and neither of us has ever suffered a major injury. This is for a variety of reasons. We don't lift ridiculously heavy with no warm-up, and we know our bodies very, very well. So although we're pushing each other every session, we're warming the muscles up with a warm-up, with lower weight, with getting the body prepared. We've been doing this many, many years. Our body is designed to lift. We do some stretching. We do some stuff to make sure our body's limber. We do our dead hangs off of the bar for our shoulders. We skip for the intercostal muscles in the shoulders where people have a lot of injuries. We've strengthened the wrists over years and years of training. We absolutely avoid injury at all costs. So when we go into the gym, we make sure that we don't lift too heavy, but we always push to a certain extent. And I think that's what a lot of guys are scared to do when they go in the gym. They don't lift heavy enough to actually make a difference. And the big thing that improves your physique is those core lifts increasing in the amount lifted, the amount of weight you lift. That's how you get bigger. So on a Monday, if we go, by the time it's the following Monday, if we've been squatting 100 kg, we should now be squatting 101.25 kg or 102.5 or 105. And then another week, we should be squatting 106.25. And that's what you should be doing consistently on your workouts without injuring yourself.
That was actually the next question we were going to come on to.
Okay.
How important actually is that progressive overload? And how do you track your progressive overload during training?
We track everything through Apple Notes. So we just have a training log. This is the same now. I'm doing more boxing. Just have a running log. I track in date, run I did, timing, try and beat it. Weight I lifted on core lifts. When I lifted it, try and beat it at the next lift. As you increase that weight, it's absolutely everything in the gym. If you're going to the gym 5 days a week, you can go for an entire year. And you can go to the gym, you can lift the same weights. And in the first two weeks as a beginner, you'll see some gains. If you then don't change the amount you lift, you will not see gains for an entire year. That's why there's guys that go gym every single day, and what they do is maintain and never build a beautiful physique. What we do is make sure if we're in the gym today, we are trying to do the best we've ever done. That's the only days you win as a man, is the days you beat your personal record on your heaviest ever lifts. And that's what you're training for. And over time, it gets harder and harder and harder. But that's what builds this incredible physique over time.
I agree. And I also think it's important to say that by beating your strongest lift, we don't necessarily mean by 10 kilos, 20 kilos. You can go, in the gym, they've got those 1.25 kilo plates. I think they even go lower in some gyms. As long as it's going up slightly, as long as every single week, if you're going up by 0.5 of a kilo and you're seeing progression in the weights going up, whether it's even just slightly, you're making progression.
Well, you think about it like this. A year actually goes surprisingly fast. We've been now training for 12 years very consistently. People think, fuck, I want to be in the best shape of my life in 90 days. It's going to take a little longer. You can make great improvements. It's going to feel great. It's not that you're not going to get improvements, but it is going to take longer than 90 days. It takes actually years naturally to shape a good physique. You actually work on different parts each year, and it's like a very, very long project. So this year I've been focusing a lot more on legs, and I'll get through to my legs. And then you'll think, next year you have a whole look at your physique and you really pinpoint the areas you need work on, and then you expand on them. And you view it as a long project, and we've always loved the lifestyle of it. We like going, we hang out, we have a good time, we train really hard, we feel good doing it. And that's very important, is to have it as part of your lifestyle. What did you ask me just then? I've lost my train of thought.
I was asking how important is the progressive overload?
Yeah, the progressive overload is absolutely everything. I think I went on and said that for a whole year you can train without progressive overload.
I believe what you were going to say, or what I'll just touch on anyway, is even if you only up your weights by a kilo a week,
that's what it
there's
was.
52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
If you're currently lifting 60 kilo on chest press, let's just say for an example, and you go to 51 the week after, 52 the week after, by the end of the year, you'll be at 112 kilos if you start at 60.
And that's a really, really impressive lift.
Yeah.
I think we looked at the data on that and how many people can actually lift that.
I'm pretty
Like
sure
top
it's
1%
like
are.
the top 1% is just lifting 100 kilo chest press,
Yeah. 1 rep
which
max.
is crazy.
Yeah. Well, what's your 1 rep max, would you say, chest press on flat bench?
Right at this stage right now, after
Yeah.
not probably around 125, 130.
Yeah.
When I was a lot heavier, 140.
And just to be clear, like me and Max, we're not the biggest guys, not the biggest bodybuilders. Over time, we've built a lot of strength, which is why our physiques look good. But we can play with the 50s, right, in the gym.
Yeah.
We can pick up the 50 kilo dumbbells, about 19 pounds, I believe. 120 pound dumbbells.
No, slightly less. I think it's just double 50. I think it's about 110 pound dumbbells.
110 pound dumbbells we
Yeah.
can pick up and chuck around for 8 to 10 reps. No problem. And that's come from years and years of just consistently getting stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So touching on that in terms of the way that you would recommend training, do you think that people actually overcomplicate training sometimes?
Absolutely. They overcomplicate it because really all you need to do is time in the gym, tracking whether you're getting stronger, and make sure you stay consistent with that. The problem is a lot of people, they miss one day and then they go, oh, I won't go the next day. And then it's been a week and they decide not to go. We just consistently have gone. We never really go 2 days without going to the gym ever. And we just force ourselves to go. And I think having a good partner that really wants to get in shape, and they have to really want to get in shape, and they have to really want to push you. They can't let you out easy. Having a partner that holds you accountable is a very good idea for building this physique. But it's not complicated, guys. Turn up 5 days a week.
Yeah, I completely agree. Having a partner is game changing, but I'd also get a partner that wants this to be their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Don't get a partner that wants to get in shape, ready for their holiday in 4 weeks' time, and then falls off track again. Or they've just booked a holiday for September and you're currently in June, and it's like, let's get in shape before September, and then they fall off again. Get someone that wants this to be their lifestyle. Training is a lifestyle. It's like a non-negotiable. It's mentally, physically, everything to do with training should just be part of life. It's an hour of your time a day.
Yeah.
So if you're working with someone that has the same attitude as that, it becomes easy, and it actually becomes fun, and it becomes just part of life. Rather than looking at a training transformation as I'm going to get to this stage in 6 weeks, or I'm going to get to this stage in 8 weeks. I answered this question to someone yesterday on the Q&A. It's like, if you want actual results and you want to get the physique that women want, the physique that you want, change your lifestyle. Don't put an end date on it. The end date should be when you're 70 years old. That's the end date.
Yeah.
Change your lifestyle until then. That's how you get in the physique that you want. And like Jack just said about having a training partner, find a training partner that has the same attitude, and it'll be so much easier for you, because then you just bounce off each other.
Well, and it becomes the best hour of the day.
Yeah.
It's our most enjoyable hour of the day. All we want to do is go gym all day. And we have to sit down and force ourselves to work. And that's the kind of love you get for the game when you first start seeing that great pump. When you first start seeing the changes in your body of newbie gains. And you start seeing, oh, fucking hell, my progress is actually improving. I'm getting stronger every week. I'm looking better every week. And you get so fucking addicted to that lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've spoken a bit about training now. I just want to ask you a few questions on diet, because I know you've always had a pretty good diet and nutrition. What are the biggest diet mistakes that most people make when trying to look good?
We will get into that, and we'll get into going lean. Just before we go on from that section, let's just give them a training split that we think that they could follow pretty easily.
Definitely.
What would you say is what do you feel like the ultimate training split is? Because we don't really do the typical bro split, do we?
The typical bro push-pull legs?
Yeah, push-pull legs. We don't really do it, do we?
We don't, but that is what got me into the gym originally, because it's just like you say, the typical bro split.
Yeah.
It's very hard to have a typical split that's best, because everyone's at different stages in their journey, different weights, different goals. However, the way that we prefer to train at the minute is a full body workout.
Yeah.
We'd prefer to train 4 times a week full body, and then on the off 3 days, maybe a cardio, and then a weak point session.
Yeah.
But full body for us has been what we've been training for the last 18 months to 2 years now. For example, 1 squat or deadlift or chest press, followed by 2 back exercises, 2 chest exercises, 2 shoulder exercises, and then finish with an arm pump.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much what we will do, and we'll just use our favorite exercises. Most of the time, we've done that up to 7 days a week, haven't we? And now we're in boxing camp, so it's a little different. A lot more cardio and a lot less weight training for us. if you are going to be doing boxing and weightlifting together, you're going to have to lose some size. You're going to have to stop doing the big heavy lifts that are not compounds. You need to start building explosive strength. So for me now, it's a lot of split squats, jumping squats, explosive shoulder press, pull-ups, weighted dips, all that sort of stuff. And you just miss out on a lot of the building of the chest with fitness. But you should be able to fit in 3 full body sessions as an athlete in boxing or MMA. That's going to keep your physique good and also add to your training as a martial artist. I would say 3 times a week full body will keep you covered on that. And then you've got 4 other days of the week to train in martial arts. And now we can go on to diet, staying lean. What was your original question on that, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. The original question was, what's the biggest diet mistakes that people make when trying to look good?
I think most people lie to themselves about the amount of calories that they're eating.
Yep.
And they really lie to themselves. Because actually, if you look at the science, guys, it's super fucking simple. Everyone, and it's not just your fault. The industry wants you to think that losing weight is a difficult thing. They want you to think that getting lean is something you need to pay for. And they do a very good job of selling you it. But the thing about getting lean is you don't see fat people that are in countries where they don't have access to food. If you don't eat, you don't fucking get fat. So basically what you have to figure out is that not everybody can eat the same things. You have to figure out something called basal metabolic rate. How many calories does your body burn just sitting and walking around? And depending on your lifestyle, depending on who you are, how old you are, what your body is set up like, some people have this fiery fucking burning furnace. I am one of those people, hard gainers typically they call us, where any food we put in, our body incinerates it. It incinerates it, uses the calories, and we find it very difficult to add mass. Some people, they don't have a furnace. They've got a little candle in there. You throw in some logs and some fuel on the candle, and it burns for a long time. Those calories do not get used. What happens to calories that are not used and burnt in the furnace? They get stored on the body for a later date. Why do they get stored on the body? Because the body is designed to keep you alive. The body never thought that we were going to have this much access to food and nutrients as we do now. So what it will do, if you eat more than you're meant to, because this is what would happen in tribal days, they would find a big fucking buffalo, kill the buffalo. The entire tribe would eat for 2 or 3 days, 10,000 calories a day as they got through this buffalo before it spoiled. Then the tribe would not eat for another week and a half because they couldn't find any more food. So the body is very good at storing that fat energy to then be used throughout the week from fat stores through ketosis, where your body then uses stored fat for your energy. That is why you are fat. Your body has stored energy you have not used, and it is now waiting to use it. Therefore, although your stomach, your head, your mindset may want you to eat food, you may find it very addicting, comforting. You may have a lot of mental programming around why you want to eat. Your body does not need to eat if you are fat. Your body will then switch to ketosis, and it will use fat stores to give you energy. That's why people can do 30-day water fasts where they do not eat and they only drink water for 30 days. And after those 30 days, they come out slim, they come out with 6-pack abs. Why? Because the body has now used the fuel that has been stored on the body. Now, a lot of people are just tricking themselves into how do they diet, how do they blah, blah, blah. You harshly cut down your calories, and that is how you start to get slim. And you can do that very fast, the more calories you cut. Now, at the same time, we want to try and keep some energy in the body, and we also want to sustain muscle mass. So what we do is we keep the calories from our protein, and we keep the protein coming in to sustain muscle mass. We keep a baseline of training, a baseline of supplementation, which we'll go through, and you keep your calories and from your protein, which is normally 1 gram per pound of body weight, is your average daily guide. So if you're a 180-pound guy and you want to keep your muscle, you eat 180 grams of protein per day and you get your calories from that. And then you cut very heavily, you cut all the fat off and sustain your muscle, and then you start to rebuild and you add your carbs back in, you start to add on more muscle. Now, another caveat, another thing just worth knowing, the more fat you have, the easier it is to add fat. The more muscle you have, the easier it is to add muscle. Lean people add muscle well in a bulk. Fat people add muscle very badly in a bulk. So you have to do something what's called a recomposition if you want an aesthetic physique. If you're fat right now, you shouldn't bulk, because your body is going to add, when you add those extra calories, they're easily going to get stored. The body's going to store those extra fat calories. What you should do first is a cut. It's called a recomp. You cut the body. You train hard, you train heavy, you try and sustain strength. Sustain your strength is your only goal. And at the same time, you cut your calories, your fat comes off. Once you've got down to 10%, 12%, anything under 15% body fat from where you're at, then you can begin to add a slight surplus of calories to start building more muscle. The amount of calories you eat a day and the amount of calories you burn. If you want to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you eat. If you want to gain weight and muscle, you have to eat slightly more calories than you burn. And that's kind of that would be my rundown. Do you have anything to add? Because you have a different type of physique to mine, Max, and a different type of eating habits and things like that.
Calling me fat? No, I do have a different. We do have completely different physiques.
Yeah.
The best way to explain it is we wore whip bands for a while.
Yeah.
Jack would burn
these like Whoop, measure your calorie burn, measure your heart rate.
Yeah. And because of these whip bands is why I would always argue that people do have a natural body. You can change your natural body, but we do have a natural way of processing foods in your body.
Yep.
We would have a normal day of work where you would film a video, I would edit the video, you might take a call, I might take a call, we'll go to the gym, it'll be the end of the day. And I've burnt 2,100 calories throughout the day, and Jack's burnt 4,300 calories. That which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's the kind of difference in our physique. But everything you just touched on there is very, very true. The only three things that I would add the three rules that I've always stuck to in terms of diet and what to actually eat. Stay away from anything with an ingredient list.
Yeah.
If you think about our daily food, it's chicken, eggs, rice, steak, mince, fruit. Stay away from any. If you're in a
Write that
supermarket
down, guys.
and you pick up anything in the supermarket and you turn it around and there's an ingredients list of E numbers and full of shit on the back of it, then you shouldn't be eating it at the end of the day. Simple as that. Number 2 is sugars. Completely stay away from sugars. I've learned that a lot over the last year. I say over the last year, the last 2 years since moving away. When I lost a lot of weight, it was just simply cutting out sugars. Sugars are terrible. You can probably talk more about sugars. You know a bit more about them.
Yeah, sugars are actually a crazy dopamine fix as well. That's why we get addicted to sugars. Mm-hmm. And cutting sugars out of your diet changes completely the way you look and the way your body is. You will get 10 times leaner. Mm-hmm. Your face will become clearer. Your skin will become clearer. Your brain fog will disappear. But it is atrociously difficult.
Yeah,
it is atrociously difficult to cut out sugar. The body is probably addicted to sugar more than it is addicted to most other things. So what you want to start doing to cut out sugars, to look more handsome, to get leaner, to get a better physique, because realistically you don't need it, right? You can eat your rice, your carbs, your sweet potato, all of that stuff, very low sugar content. You can eat your proteins, which are actually giving you nutrients to build your physique. You don't need processed sugar at all.
Yeah.
It's of no benefit to you.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were saying in the training section earlier about making this a lifestyle change, not a transformation change. If this is a lifestyle change, you should see food as a fuel for your life.
Yep.
Food isn't necessarily meant to be enjoyed. We weren't put on this planet to enjoy. Don't get me wrong, we all like to enjoy a meal now and again, but at the end of the day, that's not the use of food.
Yep.
The use of food is to fuel your body every day as best as it possibly can. So if you're eating shit tons of sugar, shit tons of food with ridiculous ingredients lists where you can't even spell or name 99 of the ingredients in there, then you're fueling your body in the wrong way. So when it goes back to what we were saying a minute ago about a transformation or a lifestyle change, it's a pretty simple lifestyle change. Stop eating shit, stop eating sugar, and just eat the natural foods. Yeah. And I actually found that very easy to do because the natural foods are quite literally the best foods. Steak, eggs, mince, rice.
You can have butter, you can have grass-fed butter.
Grass-fed butter, fruit.
And we'll go more into that in the sort of hormone side of things and the testosterone side because it's very important to building an aesthetic physique. But yeah, in terms of nutrition and some things that you guys can go and do straight away if you are carrying more weight is the MyFitnessPal, I think.
Yeah, it's
for
great.
Cutting and bulking.
MyFitnessPal is an app that you can get online which basically tracks the calories you eat. You can scan the barcodes on your foods. Personally, I don't recommend using it day in, day out all the time because it's not good for the mind. You end up...
I would probably recommend it for that first...
Until you've learnt the calories is what I'd recommend.
For the first 2 weeks or month.
2 to 4 weeks, learn the calories, because now you're at the stage that we're at now.
Yeah.
JLu can make us a meal, and we can look at that meal and we can say 200 calories of rice, 3 eggs, that's about 210 calories, mince at 400 calories, that's an 800 calorie meal.
Exactly.
And we know it, whereas a lot of people don't know that. So I would recommend, if you're at that stage where you don't know the amount of calories in any of your foods, use MyFitnessPal for 2 to 4 weeks until you've started to learn how many calories are in the foods that you're eating, and then it's easier to track it in your mind.
Absolutely. And you need to know BMR, basal metabolic rate. Try and figure out.
How do you do that?
You can use basal metabolic rate calculators on Google. So just type in BMR calculator on Google and type it in for your age and your weight and your height. That's going to give you an average, okay? But as we just talked about, me and Max are exactly the same age, very similar in body composition and height, and we have completely different basal metabolic rate. Our metabolisms work differently. So something like a Whoop band, something that is more focused on actual results and data from your body, will give you a better identification of what your calories per day should be. If you want to lose weight and get shredded, you need to find out how many calories you burn in your workout, what your BMR is, and you need to eat 500 calories under that amount. If you want a harder, faster cut, you need to be 1,000 calories under. Or you go on 1,000 calorie diet for a month where you only eat 1,000 calories of protein a day, and then in 30 days you will have lost a shit ton of fat, because you're actually going to stay in ketosis when you don't add carbs to a meal. Carbs activate a different type of energy fuel source in the body, and there's a few different energy fuel sources. You've got your very fast anaerobic fuel sources, which means without oxygen, and that is the burning of blood sugar, the burning of creatine in the muscles. We'll go on to creatine as a supplement and why it works. And you've got these anaerobic forms, and you've then got your aerobic, and you can burn actually carbohydrates aerobically, which means with oxygen. And then you've also got this form of energy burn called ketosis, which is where the body no longer has sugars in the blood, and it no longer has carbohydrates stored in the muscle, glucose and energy stored in the muscle, because you haven't been eating carbohydrates, you haven't been eating sugars, and instead it decides to break down fat into ketones, I believe, which then allows to have you energy. I am not a scientist. I'm not exactly sure if that's right, but that's what I understand. So if you only eat protein on 1,000 calorie diet, your body is forced to break down fat, it is forced to use ketones, and it is forced to make you burn your fat sources. That's about as much as I know on that.
No, that's exactly right. As far as I'm aware, that's exactly right. Yeah.
As far as scientist Max knows,
as far as
that's exactly right.
I am a scientist.
He's a scientist.
So you can listen to me.
He's watched more YouTube than most mere mortals.
We're going to go on to supplements
Yeah.
in just a moment. Last thing I just want to say on diet, which I see a lot of bullshit and people believe this, when just touching back on those points about what foods to eat, I'm pretty sure you kind of agree with me on this, even though we do drink those protein shakes. If anything says protein on it,
Yeah.
it's
Fuck
pretty
that
much
shit.
just marketing.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, that's not pretty much. It is just marketing.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into trying to lose weight.
That's a very good point.
And trying to eat healthy, and you walk around the supermarket and you see all protein bagels or all protein cereal. It's literally marketing.
Ooh, protein cookie.
Yeah, protein cookie. It's absolute bollocks. It really is. So that was the last tip of the 3 that I was saying. Do not buy stuff that says protein because it says protein. Buy a steak, buy eggs, buy chicken, and walk away from all the other shit.
Buy natural 1-ingredient foods. Buy organic. This is the fuel this is what you become. You are what you eat. You need to nourish your body. At the same time, guys, there was a big scam of the low fat. And we'll go into this in hormones and supplements. Fat is incredibly important. Healthy fats are incredibly important. Sugar is what makes you fat. But what people did is they thought, okay, the marketing's very easy. If we say low fat, people think they won't get fat. So they pumped your food with sugar, called it low fat, fat which you need. Fat doesn't make you fat. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Sugar makes you fat. So they told everyone, oh, low fat yogurt, low fat milk, low fat this, low fat that. People bought it, and then they got super fat, and we now have an issue with obesity. That's because they filled it with sugar, took away the fat. That destroys your hormone profile. There's so many little different tricks and things. That's why it's very important to stay on that 1-ingredient diet.
Yeah.
And eat natural where you can. Your steaks, your eggs, your chicken, grass-fed as much of that stuff as you can with your key carbs, your rice, your sweet potatoes, some veg, some tomatoes, some cucumbers chopped up. That's basically all we eat, isn't it?
It is all we eat. And I've never tested this specifically, but that Eddie Abu, who says online, he actually says, but calorie counting is ridiculous. He says if you're only eating steak, chicken, eggs, you can eat as much as you want because your body knows how to use that. It's as soon as you're adding in the ingredients that are shit and the sugars that your body doesn't know how to use, that's when you put on the weight. And it's also like the mints and that. Oh, we've got the cat coming to join us. It's the mints. You don't even need to buy the 2% fat mints. It's like, how many times has that bit of meat been processed and processed and processed to remove the fat? Meat is healthiest at its purest form. Yeah. The fattiest type of meat there is.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, let's move on, I guess, to supplements, hormones.
I don't want to know, and I'm sure the people want to know, what supplements are you currently taking and how much do you think supplements matter?
Hey, stop scratching our leather sofas. The cat's having a scratch at the leather sofas. Really, she gets to me, that cat. But that's fine, yeah. So what am I currently taking? I've found the biggest impact in my life from a couple of supplements. Number one is creatine, which I haven't actually been taking recently. I've been a bit lazy on. Mm-hmm. But I do see the benefits when I take it. I just need to be more disciplined, move it to my room, take it every morning. I will take between 5 and 15 grams of creatine a day when I'm on it. Last time I took it consistently was probably a month ago. I see a very quick increase in strength because creatine actually goes into the muscles. Creatine you can also get from foods, but it's not made by the body. You get it from things like steak. A grass-fed steak will increase your creatine stores. When your body is filled with creatine, it's one of the first energy sources the body uses in high-intensity exercise. So having more creatine stored in the muscles is going to allow you to lift those couple more reps in the gym and tear and repair more. That's how muscle is built. You tear it down, you destroy the muscle fibers with the heaviest weights you've ever lifted and the most intensity you've ever lifted. And then it repairs stronger so that it can do it more the next time. And the body repairs itself. That's muscle building in an instant. The more creatine you have, you can get those extra few reps. Creatine is very effective and it's the most studied supplement. It also has cognitive benefits and I believe it's a very good sub. So creatine monohydrate between 5 and 15 grams. Flavorless, don't add the fucking sweeteners, don't add any of that. Get a solid flavorless creatine. The next one I've seen massive benefits in is vitamin D. The majority of the world is vitamin D deficient, even if you live in a sunny country. So I actually take between 10 and 20,000 IUs of vitamin D per day consistently. With K2, I take 1 K2 pill. I don't know the measurements of that. That would, to most people would be a ridiculous amount of vitamin D3. If you look into studies, some people take up to 60,000 IUs of vitamin D3 with no adverse side effects. What vitamin D3 does, allows you to produce more testosterone, allows for better cognitive function, allows for more immune health. I do not get sick if I take my 20,000 IUs of vitamin D on a daily basis, no matter what. I traveled for months, actually drank far too much alcohol, partied far too hard all the way across America, did not get ill once, not one time, no sleep for multiple nights sometimes. Drinking alcohol, new place, new environment, flights, long hauls, the entire lot. I did not get ill once taking my vitamin D3. I ran out of vitamin D3 just before I got home, and I got ill as soon as I got back from Dubai after 3 months of travel.
Yeah, I remember.
Vitamin D3 has been a game changer for me in overall health, testosterone levels, and mental alertness and awareness. My mother has also reported the same things. She does nowhere near as much vitamin D as me, but she does about 3,000 to 4,000 IUs per day. And she said her mental clarity is much, much better. And she's a woman that's in her 40s. So yeah, I think vitamin D3 and creatine are the best for me. I've done a video on my main channel, Jack Hopkins. It is called The Complete Guide to Testosterone, which you can go into and start to understand in a 25-minute video, the entire breakdown of what causes good testosterone levels in men, why that is so important to become an anabolic and fixing your body. But those are the two supplements that I'm taking right now or regularly take, the two most important for me.
Yep. Any others we've got downstairs that you sometimes take? The other one that I'm quite a big fan of that I haven't taken in a while, but after this holiday I did say I just ordered this morning actually was bicarbonate amino acids, BCAAs. They're basically the building blocks of protein. So for example, if you're eating 200 grams of protein a day, your body can't always use all 200 grams of protein a day because you don't have the right amino acids in your body to allow your body to use them. So if you are eating a ridiculous amount of protein, then you take the supplement bicarbonate amino acids. and that then just helps your body use the protein that you're eating. So I've always found BCA is a good one. That was a key one I used to take every day for 3 years when we were 20 years old.
Yeah.
That was a big one of mine. But like you say, the other two were just creatine, vitamin D.
They're the most important. You can add in, we get most of the stuff we need for testosterone support from our diet. So
Yeah.
for testosterone support, you need cholesterol. Cholesterol is a precursor to testosterone. We can eat 4 eggs before bed fairly regularly, up to 8 to 10 eggs a day. High cholesterol, not having high cholesterol and it being a bad thing is a myth. And the high cholesterol actually is one of the precursors to testosterone in men. The other thing is obviously red meat. We do eat a fair amount of red meat, though we've pulled it back slightly. We used to eat probably 2 steaks a day. Now we eat probably 1 every other day or 1 every 3 days, which I believe is a healthy amount. We get most of our protein now from chicken. What was the other one? Butter. Yeah, grass-fed butter. The butter oils, fish oils are very, very good for testosterone support as well. Obviously, you can take your standard multivitamin. But all in all, those are the ones I really feel have worked for me. And actually, if we talk supplements, I think we should also include caffeine and nicotine as supplements. These are 2 very powerful appetite suppressants. So sitting with you right now, I can honestly say I've probably had so far today at least 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
And that would be roughly, well, a Red Bull has something like 100 milligrams of caffeine.
Smaller Red Bull, yeah.
Like a medium Starbucks has something like 119 milligrams of caffeine. So I've had 2, the equivalent of 3 strongly caffeinated drinks today. What this allows in your body, and there are trade-offs here, but what this allows in your body is when you're wired via caffeine, or you are wired via nicotine, which I do not use currently, but Max uses as a appetite suppressant. And we'll go into this quite deeply. When I'm on caffeine, I feel buzzed. I feel up, and I feel like I don't need to eat. I feel energy. The only problem is fake energy. This is fake energy by an increased heart rate, by dumbing down the adenosine receptors in the brain and causing you not to be sleepy. Over a long time of using caffeine, although it will stop you from eating, it will allow you to stay lean, it will give you good energy, and it will also keep you lean, stop you from having an appetite. It is energy that does need to be paid back. If I ever stop caffeine, I could spend a week pretty much sleeping, because what's happened is you've been blocking adenosine for so long in the brain, which causes you to be tired, and you're using it every morning as soon as you wake up, that over time you do build up a sleep debt and you build up a tolerance to caffeine. If you then cut out that caffeine, you're going to have to spend some time sleeping, being very tired, being very moody, having some headaches, but at the same time, you will be lean and your hunger will come back ravenously if you cut out that stuff. Same with nicotine. I think you can talk more on that. How do you find nicotine helps you with as an appetite suppressant? And then I can talk about why I no longer use nicotine.
Yeah, so I've been taking nicotine through vapes and snus now for many years. Mainly snus, really. I'll vape on holiday.
What is snus for people that don't know?
Snus zins, as they call them in America, are the nicotine pads that you put in your pouches, that you put in your top lip. The benefits of them for me are, and I'm sure you can agree from when you were on them,
You've seen it firsthand.
Jack will wake up now not on nicotine, and he'll be eating within an hour of waking up, and he'll eat again 3 hours later, and again 2 hours later, and again 3 hours later. When Jack was on nicotine, he'd wake up and he wouldn't have his first meal some days until 7 p.m, 8 p.m. at night. You don't need to eat as much. For someone like me, I'm sure there's a lot of guys watching this that are similar to me and less similar to Jack that can't necessarily stop eating. Food is very nice to them. You want to eat all the time. It's hard for me to say no to food. Me and Jack Carger, our good friend from home, we used to live together and we used to struggle. We used to sit in my living room and try and stop ourselves from going in the kitchen to get food. So for me, nicotine's always helped with that, because when you get hungry, I would use nicotine to stop myself from eating, which allows me to keep my diet to 2,000 calories a day. Because at the minute I'm trying to cut weight. So at just under 2,000 calories a day, nicotine helps with that.
Yeah.
But like you just said, you've then unfortunately using nicotine, you've got the downsides to nicotine.
So then the downsides that I've found from being heavily addicted to nicotine is it's not healthy to be in that constant calorie deficit for that long. Your body needs good food sources for energy. If only your energy is coming from caffeine and nicotine, these all have to be paid back. They're fake energy. you can only take fake energy for so long until everything implodes and blows up. And that happened to me mentally, happened to me physically. My workouts were not as good. My workouts were suffering. I was no longer interested in the gym. I was no longer interested in pretty much anything other than sitting there taking nicotine, sitting around all day pretending to work. So there's some major drawbacks, which is why I quit. What happens after I quit? I got super hungry. I started eating good quality food regularly again, getting real energy, feeling enthusiastic for the gym, getting stronger in the gym, and overall my physique got a lot better. Obviously, that's because I was very, very lean. Eating food for me is not a problem. I should actually be encouraged to eat more.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely not advising to people to get on nicotine or to become totally addicted to caffeine, but now you know that they are appetite suppressants. And I think it'd be unfair to say that we haven't abused them and haven't used them and pretend like we haven't. We haven't, but I would be very, very careful with the amount you use, because for me, I got very trapped and it was not healthy. And even my caffeine intake now is not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Imagine when we were in America, the energy drinks you were having every day.
Oh yeah, I'm the kind of guy, I can do anywhere from 300 to 800 milligrams of caffeine a day. I love uppers. That's one of my problems. I have a very addictive personality. So we might come back on in a month's time and I might have cut down caffeine and found some major benefits. Mm-hmm. Caffeine does have drawbacks. It stops working effectively. Your first time having a white monster when you go into the gym, you'll have the best workout of your fucking life. The next day, if you have one again, it will be a pretty good workout.
Yep.
Same for the day after that. But then maybe on that 4th day, that 5th day, that 6th day, that 7th day, you just feel normal. It's just, okay, yeah, just need my white monster to get in the gym today. Just feel normal. Then after a while, you're like, oh, still don't really want to go gym after my white monster. Might just have it and then just hang out. That's the drawback of caffeine.
Yeah.
It's diminishing returns. And then you start to get some big issues. You can't sleep properly. You're very, very irritable. You're very, very angry. You can't add any weight on. You don't eat any food. And it starts to really destroy your training. So I think a recommended split for caffeine would be a day on, day off. It's not something I do, but it sounds like a good idea. It does sound. Well, it sounds like a good idea because I think that would stop you getting addicted and at least give the body some rest. A day on, day off for caffeine.
Yeah.
And we'll maybe have to do an experiment where we do take some time off caffeine for a week or even for a month, that we tried to take off caffeine and we actually reported the benefits or the massive drawbacks or whether it was even possible for us. That would be quite interesting.
You can go away for a solo trip when you do that.
Okay, yeah, because I'll be fucking angry. He says as he starts sipping his incredibly strong 5th coffee of the day.
Did you just want to, while we're talking diet and nutrition, sort of relates, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah.
Did you want to touch on peptide use at all? Because there's a lot of guys that are in your DMs quite a lot asking you the question on what peptides you've used before.
Yeah.
Whether you would recommend peptides to anybody.
Yeah, I first came across peptides probably around 2 years ago now. And let's talk PEDs, steroids, testosterone, peptides. So you've got a few different categories. You've got your natural supplements, your creatine. These are kind of your base levels. Your whey proteins. By the way, don't drink whey proteins or mass gainers. They give you acne. Just a side point.
True story.
But you've got those basically supplements you buy from the pharmacy. You have then got the next level up from that, or the next 2 levels up. You've got your testosterone, your hormone replacement therapy, or testosterone replacement therapy, your TRT. And this is where you're injecting synthetic testosterone, synthetic growth hormone into the body in order to have more available testosterone to be anabolic and create muscle and improve your recovery. The problem with this, and this is something that people can look into if they have very low testosterone, but the problem for me when I look into that is I've never taken any of that, never taken any TRT or testosterone or any anabolics. And the reason why, when you start taking that, unless you take the correct other supplements or other injections, your natural testosterone, your natural hormone production will stop. And at 26 years old, that's not really an option for me. I don't want to be injecting myself with testosterone every week in my ass for the next 70 years when my body is already making good testosterone. So I instead choose to optimize my natural hormones, optimize the amount of testosterone my body makes by understanding hormone profiles and understanding my health, my sleep, my recovery, and in that turn, actually get my body to work well. Now, peptides, after testosterone, so you've got 2 steps up from supplements. You've got testosterone and you've got synthetic hormones. Then you've got a step up from that. This is anabolic hormones. These are stronger than injecting synthetic testosterone, sometimes 6, 10, 12 times faster. These are steroids. This is what people mean when they say you're a roid head, you're a juice head, or you have made massive, massive gains. You've got your Tren, your Anavar, Debo, I don't really know any others, but there's a whole different stack of very, very heavy, very, very powerful anabolic steroids. And when you go on a cycle of these, they can have massive, massive side effects and also massive, massive benefits to the amount of muscle you add on, but you're always losing something. Both of those scare the shit out of me. I don't want to fuck up my natural body just to look a little bit better now. Maybe I'll come back to that in 30, 35 and look at some hormones. But there's a little section in between your creatine and your synthetic testosterone called peptides. Now, what peptides do, and peptides are branch chain amino acids. I think I'm saying that correctly, but they're a chain of amino acids that you inject into your body subcutaneously, or you can take with a pill. They have a variety of different functions. What the peptides do is they increase your natural production of a certain hormone rather than give you a synthetic powerful hormone that stops your natural production. So the peptides that I have taken are tesamorelin. Tesamorelin is a growth hormone secretagogue, which means that it allows your body to increase its output of HGH, human growth hormone, which is better for recovery, repair, skin, nails. At the same time, improving your body composition, taking away some of your fat around your, what is it called? Visceral fat around your abdomen. It's used in HIV patients who struggle with getting rid of fat. That's its actual medical use, but you can use it in training for getting rid of visceral fat, better body recomposition, and higher human growth hormone levels. And you would take tesamorelin into the subcutaneous fat layer of the body. You would inject it. I believe it's 2 milligrams per day.
Yeah, 2 milligrams.
2 milligrams serving per day, 7 days a week to sustain high HGH levels at the same time. So I have used cycles of tesamorelin, and what it does is makes you incredibly lean. But at the same time, I might do 2 months on tesamorelin and then come off tesamorelin, and there is no side effects that I have experienced. I don't feel different in my mood. I don't feel different in my mood when I'm on it. And I get this gradual just leanness that's coming back and an increase in the elasticity of my skin and other things like that. So I've used tesamorelin. I've used BPC 157, also TB 500. The 3 of these combined is actually called the Wolverine stack and is used to make your body heal at a much faster level. So you can train 2-3 times a day. You get a faster repair for the body with much less side effects. That is essentially peptides. As of right now, me and you are both taking tesamorelin again. We're both on tesamorelin, 1 injection a day of tesamorelin. You can also watch Andrew Huberman talk about peptides. It should just increase human growth hormone and allow us to be leaner, easier, and a slightly better recomposition without the side effects of testosterone, without the side effects of implementing or affecting our natural production. But yeah, that's kind of all that I know about this stuff.
That's a good answer. Very good answer. I learned listening to that.
Okay, cool.
That was very good. We're going to come to a slight end in a minute. I just want you to summarise, again, the physique that women want, the physique that guys want. If you had to summarise it in a couple of sentences for somebody that's right at the start.
Yep.
What training, in a couple of sentences, the right training plan, the right diet, if you could just summarise everything we've been through to get that perfect physique that you were talking about.
Yep.
What would you suggest to someone if you had like an elevator pitch to talk to someone through
Absolutely. I'd say it's a life changer for you if when you achieve it. And what you want to make sure is, number one, you have a base of cardiovascular fitness. You have a few times a week, maybe 3 times a week, where you're doing a set of sprints to increase your testosterone, increase overall muscle mass. You're doing 10 25-second sprints with a 45-second break in between for better body composition, better testosterone levels, and overall cardiovascular fitness, as well as a better overall body and physique. You're focusing 3 times a week at least on the core lifts and building your strength. At the same time, if you are carrying extra fat, you're eating 1 ingredient foods, you are cutting out all the shit, and you're in a calorie deficit on a regular basis. Over time, increasing your sprints and your overall fitness, your flexibility and your stretching, your ability and strength in compound lifts across all areas, the back, the shoulders, the legs, the hamstrings, the entire lot. And at the same time, getting your diet under control based on what we've said, adding in creatine, vitamin D, and if you would like to, perhaps some peptides, but if not, absolutely no problem. If you do that and you optimize for test, optimize for your health, optimize for your fitness, the amount you can lift, the amount you can run, the amount you can jump, and you become a fit person whilst also adding in some training for the side delts, you will build the golden triangle physique. Your skin will look better, you will feel better about yourself, and you will have a physique that women want and men envy. And that comes from being a fit, essentially Greek god, someone who can actually use their body and trains all round for general health and well-being. Anything to add, Mr. Max?
I don't think so. That's covered very well.
Awesome.
Well
guys,
said.
I hope you enjoy that. We can go deeper on topics. If you guys want, fire it down in the comments below. We will happily hop back on and go deeper in any topics around fitness, physique, health. We love this stuff. Now we have to go and do a coaching call for the Icon Blueprint where we teach people how to build their personal brands, which will be on for a couple of hours. If any of you guys are interested in that, please go and check out our free training down below and have a look into how we help people escape their 9-to-5s and build personal brands in the modern day, just like I did, which changed my whole life. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Max, thank you for coming on. Amazing questions. And see you guys on the next one. Whoop-ow!